So you got these angels in the spirit world holding back the destruction from happening for a reason. Go on.
Saying, hurt not the earth.
Hurt not the earth, because that's what the missiles are going to do. They're going to hurt the earth. In particular, America. Go on.
Neither the sea.
Neither the sea. Go on.
Nor trees.
Nor trees. Go on.
Till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads.
Till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads. Seal them with what? The name of the Heavenly Father. And the knowledge that goes with it. The truth.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, so it's all part of showing you how powerful it is to know the name and the Heavenly Father's Son's name.
You automatically rank. You automatically have officer.
Say any more on that?
No, then it goes into and I heard, this verse 4, and I heard the number of them which was sealed.
The number of them which was sealed. Sealed with what? This truth. This knowledge. Go on.
Which was sealed, and there was sealed 144,000.
Now the 144,000, that comes from the 12 tribes here. In other words, out of each tribe is going to be 12,000 individuals that's going to be sealed with this knowledge, sealed with this truth. So 12 times 12 is 144. So 12,000 times 12 is 144,000. And they're also known as the elect. Okay, they're also known as the first fruits. Okay, of which we hope we're of that number. The 144,000. They're going to be sealed with this knowledge in their foreheads. Right? There's another one too. Revelation 14. Revelation 14. Beginning at the first verse.
Okay. This is Revelations 14 and 1.
Go on.
And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion.
That lamb is talking about Yahweh Shai, which the world calls Jesus Christ. Go on.
And with him 144,000.
Now remember in Revelation 7 we read about them. Those are the ones that seal. Alright, and they come from the earth. We that's here, we're part of that number. 144,000.
That's up to
Go on.
Having his father's name written in their foreheads.
Read that, go back and read.
Right. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion,
right,
and with him 144,000.
Go on.
Having his father's name written in their foreheads.
That's part of the seal. Having his father's name written in their foreheads. What's the father's name? Yahweh. And the son's name is Yahweh Shai. Now when you read it in the Greek, it says having his father's name and his son's name. Alright? So that name is very important. Go ahead.
And I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters, and as a voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne.
Yeah, that new song is talking about this knowledge, this truth, which we're teaching. It's really, it says new, but it's really not new. It's from the past, but it's just been made fresh again. Because the scriptures say in the book of Jude, I will bring you to your remembrance, though you once knew this. Bring us back to our remembrance. We knew the truth in the past, but the Lord is bringing us back to our remembrance.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, and salutation, brothers, doing this thing in sincerity and truth, done with charity. This is gonna be a quick lesson on some article. Really, there's some pictures I found from an article. Like it says, 15 major corporations you never knew profited from slavery. Okay? And these are, companies and businesses, Jake Hughes, especially the first one that pops up, of course, the JP Morgan Chase. Everybody know Chase. Niggas use Chase. Alright? But these are people that profited off of slavery. They had slave ships. And ultimately, to this day, they profit off of it, man. We're still slaves, man. In fact, the way it's set up now is cheaper now. Because back then, what you have to do, you had to care for your slaves, you had to provide for your slaves. Now, you give your slaves a few pieces of paper, and they give you that paper right back and still do the goddamn slave labor. They think they're free, so they're more happy to be slaves. All right? The greatest trick of the devil. To convince his servants that they're free, therefore they're happy serving, man. Okay? We got what? A&M Rothschild and Sons Bank in London. It says it was linked to slavery. The company that was one of the biggest names in the city of London had previously undisclosed links to slavery in the British colonies. Documents seen by the Financial Times have revealed that Nathan Mayer Rothschild, the banking family's 19th century patriarch, made personal gains by using enslaved Africans as collateral in dealings with a slave owner. So it said that they used the slaves as collateral, man. So if you can pay, your slaves looked at as property, they would take your fucking slaves, man. You know, not only is the slavery bad, they'll take us from Esau. Like, look, you can't afford to pay. Look, well, you got to cuff up your slaves. It's your collateral. Just like they'll foreclose your house, man, or repo your vehicle. They'll repo us. God damn it, they will repo us. Okay, and these are big companies, man, and a lot of their profit came from what? Slavery. Aetna Inc., the United States' largest health insurer, apologized for selling policies in the 1850s that reimbursed slave owners for financial losses when the enslaved Africans they owned died. They had, so that's plain life insurance policies off of us. And this is for, like, you know, the average Edomite, say, got some farmland. All right, if his slaves was to pass, he had life insurance on us. He got compensated for that, man, and he can go purchase more slaves. So look, of course, you know, we see these big companies prospering off slavery, but that also means what? That these Edomites, that these lower level Edomites, they got profited too, man. We were their property. We built this place up. We made America great, man. Off the backs of so-called Negroes, Latin Native Americans, we made this place great, man. Okay, Lehman Brothers. Everybody know about Lehman Brothers, man, whose business empire started in the slave trade. There you go. They wouldn't exist without the fucking slave trade, man. Recently admitted their part in the business of slavery. According to the Sun-Times, the now defunct financial services firm acknowledged that its founding partners owned not one, but several enslaved Africans during the Civil War era, and that in all likelihood it profited significantly from slavery. Look, they built up during the slave trade, man. There's no in all likelihood you flat out profited from it, man. Esau was a master, you know, devil with his words, man. You know you profited from it. New York Life Insurance Company. It's like New York Life Insurance Company is the largest mutual life insurance company in the United States. They also took part in slavery by selling insurance policies on enslaved Africans. And we're not Africans, man. They got a lot of us from West Africa, so that's what they want to label us. But hey, the first slaves got brought out of what? The first so-called Negro slaves got taken from Portugal, Spain. We ruled in Europe. It was called the Holy Roman Empire. That was us. When it switched from the Roman Empire to the Holy Roman Empire. All right, also known as what? The Byzantine Empire. We ruled roughly for 1,000 years, man, when this devil was in the Caucasus Mountains, which is why he's called the Caucasians, man. According to USA Today, evidence of 10 more New York life policies came from an 1847 account book kept by the company's Natchez Miss agent WW3. The book, part of a collection at Louisiana State University, contains Britain's notes on slave policies he wrote for amounts ranging from $375 to $600. A 1906 history of New York Life says 339 of the company's first 1,000 policies were written on the lives of slaves. So about a third of their first 1,000 policies, all right, was for slaves. And who knows what the hell the rest was for, man? But hey, guess what? What to take note from that? This company got big and started with what? Slavery. Like, hey, that's the story of America. All right, that's American history. They had slaves and they prospered because of these slaves, just like Egypt. Who built those pyramids? Who helped them get through famine? All right. Who did they enslave that made them great? Hey, starting with Joseph on down to the rest of the Israelites, man. We made Egypt great. We made this Egypt great. Hey, the Lord is finna come, punish this place for this shit, man. This is, Salaki, let me get this precept so I don't forget. I know it's in Isaiah. Salaki. Okay. This is it says Norfolk Southern also has a history. Salakia. And also has a history in the slave trade. The Mobile Girard Company, which is now part of Norfolk Southern, offers slaveholders $180, about $3,379 today, which lets you know that the value of the dollar has dropped tremendously, man. $180 back then was worth, let's say, $3,400. $180 today was worth $3,400 back then. Hey, that shows this economy's through. That this country's through. That Esau time is almost up, man. All right? This once great corporation, America, which profited tremendously off the backs of slaves, hey, their currency is going down the shitter, man. And that's Yappa. All right? And this is happening because, hey, the Lord is going to bring judgment upon this devil for these very acts that we're reading about, man. Okay? So it says, the Central of Georgia, another company aligned with Norfolk Southern Line today, valued its slaves at $31,303, which is $663,033 today on record. So they had purchased, or they rented, Salakia, they rented over $500,000 worth of slaves, man. All right, man. They rented the slaves. This is madness. Wachovia. U.S. Today reported that Wachovia Corporation, now owned by Wells Fargo, which, hey, these are companies we know, man, has apologized for its ties to slavery after disclosing that two of its historical predecessors owned enslaved Africans and accepted them as payment. Accepted so-called Negroes, slaves as payment, man. We was traded like commodity, man. This is the devil we dealing with, but the Lord is finna judge them for this. USA Today has found that their own parent company, EW Scripps and Gannett, has had links to the slave trade. They didn't disclose what it was, but they had partaken in the slave trade, man. Fleet Boston Financial. According to reports, Fleet Boston evolved from an earlier financial institution, Providence Bank, founded by a John Brown, who was a slave trader and owned ships used to transport enslaved Africans. Okay? So the moral of the story, America got great off the backs, all right, off the backs of the so-called Negroes, Native Americans, man, the slaves. All right, but the Lord is going to punish you for this. All right? This is Isaiah 51. And 21, therefore hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine. All right, we beaten down, taught the ways of our oppressor. Okay, just afflicted. Thus saith thy Lord Yahweh, and thy power that pleadeth the cause of his people. Of his Salakia. Hold on one second. Sorry. You already knew, you should fucking did it. This is Isaiah 51:22. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, and thy power that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again. But I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down that we may go over. And thou hast laid thy body as the ground, and that's the street to them that went over. So we was told to lay down, you know, and they walked all over us, man. All right, they afflicted us, they punished us. But now these things are about to fall upon our enemies, man. All right, told us to bow down. That's what our people did, man. They snatched us up from the places we were at, brought us over here, beat us, tortured us, forced their ways upon us, tricked us, told us we was free. Meanwhile, we still had to do everything the same as in slavery. Follow their ways. All right, go to them for the one of all things. Okay? But the Lord said, well, he's about to take this cup from us and give it to them, man. So we're witnessing the fall of this economy. All right, we're witnessing the fall of the so-called white man. And this is James 5:1. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. So what's saying, hey, for one, they got off the gold standard, got off the silver standard, and then the dollar, the paper dollar, this US dollar, the petrodollar, that they've been using for the last few decades is now what? Going out the window, man. This is a witness they falling down, man. This is a witness for what's next. And shall eat your flesh as it were fire. So they got the world to get on this currency. They tricked everybody to get in business with them. And now they're ready to burn this whore, like it says in Revelation. All right, they're ready to burn this whore. And that's what's coming, man. That's why, what was it? $300 was back then is now worth over $3,400, or about $3,400. Or did that say 100? 100 is, I think, was it $186 worth or 34? Whatever it said, man. Look how low the dollar has gotten, man. Which let you know, hey, look, your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. This place is through, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Destruction is next. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth. And the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth, which means Lord of hosts, Lord of armies. Okay? Man. So the Lord hears this, man. The Lord hears our cries, man. And he's finna come down with great wrath. And he's coming with the host of heaven, man. Okay? Ye have lived in pleasures on the earth and been wanton. Ye have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter. Ye have condemned and killed the just. Shalak, I'm going to read that over. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you. All right? So, hey, you told our people to do whatever, and they followed you, man. Our people praise you, and yet you still slaughter us as if this was 400 years ago. Like you had to beat the shit out of us, you know, to beat our own culture out of us. No, our people follow your way so hardly, man. Yet they still murder us, they still torture us, they still defraud us. Look at Bill Cosby. He got rich in their system, and they made sure they destroyed that man, his reputation, which he is a piece of shit. He's against the laws of the Lord. But according to their standards, he was ideal. According to Esau's standards, he was ideal. Yet, they fucked him up. All right? And the just is talking about us as a nation. All right? Of course, especially the Israelites, you know, that know the truth. But they completely wiped us out, man. The Lord say, what though? Be patient, therefore, brethren, until the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husband waited for the precious fruit of the earth, and hath long patience for it, until he received the early and latter rain. So that's what we're waiting for, man. We got to be patient to receive the salvation. All right, and meanwhile, while we're waiting, hey, we got to make sure we speaking against this devil, man, because that's what time we in. The Lord is going to take him out. It's Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. That's called slavery. This country is built and run off of slave labor. All right, off the backs of the Israelites. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. So we standing up against this devil. We let them know that he's been unjust concerning the Lord's children, man. So the Lord is going to bring great destruction for these people, man, and great salvation for his elect, man. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision, and a proverb of reproach. We fools accounted his life madness, and his end to be without honor. Now, how was he numbered among the children of God, and his lot is among the saints? That's what they're going to say. How? We called them just niggers, spics, tots, we called them whatever. Okay? We called them savages. And they actually the children of the Lord. They actually the saints. That's how they're going to feel, man, real soon. So that's why through the Spirit we got to preach this word, man. So that I told you so can smack them in the face that much more harder, man. All right? And I got one more. Through the Spirit. This is Zechariah 2 and 8. For thus saith the high host, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you, toucheth the apple of his eye. So Yahweh is going to come redeem us, and he's about to get out his pistivity upon these heathens, man, that have profited off our backs, man. Okay? Hey, even the Median Persians let us go to go build the temple up. Esau, we to make sure we lay down on the ground, man. They fake released us and then told us lies about who we are, that we're Africans. All right, that we're randomly from this big ass continent, some random nation, some random tribe. They didn't even tell us which one, because we don't come from there. All right, just made us lie to the ground, man, so they can prosper, so they can get put up, man. Meanwhile, we at the fucking bottom, getting tread upon, man. And the Lord got great judgment for that, man. So with that, hope it was edifying. All praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Rachai Kodash. Double honors to the apostles. And salutations, you brothers doing this thing in sincerity, truth, and with charity. Shalom. Abba, Abba.
Ezekiel 35. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore as I live, saith the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men, in thy hills, and in thy valleys, and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. I will make thee perpetual desolations, and thy cities shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. Because thou hast said, These two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas the Lord was there. Therefore as I live, saith the Lord God, I will even do according to thine anger, and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them. And I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies, which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, They are laid desolate, they are given us to consume. Thus with your mouth ye have boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. Thus saith the Lord God, When the whole earth rejoiceth, I will make thee desolate, as thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, even all of it, and they shall know that I am the Lord. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, even all of it, and they shall know that I am the Lord. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, even all of it, and they shall know that I am the Lord.
Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashim Shai Bashim Rakakbadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. To the confusion of face, join unto our ranks. The hopefully elect, the Akwaf that are listening and learning to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm coming at you with another lesson in truth. And this is the True News Network. And these are a bunch of evangelists who profess that they're teaching the true gospel of the Bible, the one that was taught in the 40 days that Yahweh Shai was fasting, you know, and they're questioning. The title of this video lets you know that they don't understand nor know prophecy, right? Because how can a man know his goings? They would understand that the Most High is using these men to do these things to bring on, you know, this destruction. All right. But I'm going to let the video play, and then I'm going to interject with some scripture. It's an 18-minute video. We're probably going to let about 10 minutes of it play. So without any further ado, let's get into it.
Meeting that was held at the CIA headquarters in Langley. Was that Friday's program? Friday. Okay. So it was reported that John Bolton convened a meeting at the CIA at Langley. Secretary Pompeo was there, Gina Haspel, the director of CIA, Secretary Shanahan of the Defense Department. Right. I forget who else.
Well, Dan Coates, the head of Director of National Intelligence.
National Intelligence was there. So we now know what the meeting was about.
Oh,
like we didn't know on Friday. It was pretty obvious where this is going. I guess the only thing missing out of that meeting is a photograph of John Bolton coming out the door with a yellow pad that says 120,000 troops.
So war is in their hearts. But real quick, let me read this scripture in 2nd Ezra. This is 2nd Ezra 12 and 17. And that's I'm starting 16. And it reads, And this do the 12 wings signify which thou sawest. All right. As for the voice which thou heardest speak, and that thou sawest not to go out from the heads, but from the midst of the body thereof. This is the interpretation. That was basically a synod. And this is how you know that this is Esau, Edom all over again. This is Rome. All right, because the Grecians and the Romans, they did things in a body. The Lord sets up kings, but Esau wants to set up groups of men so that they can judge themselves and rule themselves, you know, by the doctrines of men and not by the powers that be. Okay, so you had one of those same type meetings in the ancient world was just held now, and the topic was war.
Or a huge bomb. That would probably be another too.
So the New York Times reported last night that at the direction of John Bolton,
once again, the president's advisor,
Advisor. He doesn't seem to be advising a lot. He seems to be
Directing.
acting as the real president of the United States. Because
we've seen that before. Because anyone who was alive during the presidency and the vice presidency of Bush and Cheney, it was clear that Dick Cheney was running the show. Bush was the front man, the face. But your real president was Dick Cheney at that time. You better believe that. If you don't, you're fooling yourself.
according to the New York Times, at the direction of John Bolton, Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan presented top White House national security officials.
Now, mind you, the Defense Secretary is a higher position than the advisor. Okay? As a matter of fact, the Secretary is third in command in America. Yeah, it's Secretary of Defense. Yeah, so you got your president, your vice president, then the Secretary of Defense, I'm pretty sure is number 3. You know, I could be wrong, but I don't think that I am.
With a plan to send up to 120,000 troops to the Middle East in the event that Iran attacks American forces. So John Bolton ordered the Secretary of Defense. Shouldn't it be the other way around?
You would think so. I mean, if we had an advisor here advising us on the Godcast each day, can you imagine that advisor telling you what to do?
So these guys think that they're learned in the scriptures, yet they're wearing a phallic symbol under their necks, and they all got bald faces. Nobody's got a beard on their face. Right? But if you say something to them, they're going to tell you that that was done away with, which the scriptures never says that the laws was done away with. Esau is just contrary to the scriptures. Clean contrary.
No, no, that wouldn't happen.
No.
Advisors,
They could make suggestions, say, hey, Rick, can you consider this? Look at this. These are the options. Not, you better do this.
Well, at the time,
That's kind of the tone of this.
I mean, he
isn't it?
picks up the phone and he calls the Secretary of Defense and orders him to do something.
Well,
well,
apparently
acting Secretary of Defense.
Yeah.
And that's what's important is I think he took advantage of the vacuum that was left with Secretary Mattis leaving his post.
I think Secretary Mattis left because of this kind of stuff. I think this is one of the examples that drove Secretary Mattis out of the.
Let me pause it for a second and get that scripture. Since I semi-quoted it, let me read it. This is about the so-called men of the Lord here, these Christians who are giving you the news. All right. This is a second, Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter, the 12th verse, and it says, "Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn. He is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with the offending of the law and objective to our infamy, the transgressions of our education." So yeah, we object and are against the ways of Esau Edom and his senate. All right, we govern according to the law, statutes, and commandments, and according to order that is set up by the Lord, not that is set up by men. And Esau wants to govern himself, when the scriptures clearly tell you that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men.
The Defense Department. He wasn't going to clash with these people like this. That's my own.
I think you read the article, actually.
Yes.
So it actually brings up an incident they report on from September of last year, where John Bolton attempted, after there was a mortar attack in an embassy in Iraq, a U.S. embassy in Iraq, he attempted to do just this. He tried to come up with a plan of attack in regard to Iran. And Secretary Mattis at the time, the defense secretary, said, this is absolutely crazy. We're not going to start a war, though your war.
And Secretary Mattis is gone, and John Bolton is there, and he's ordering the acting Secretary of Defense what to do. And we're headed to war. So John Bolton is running the show in the White House.
Do you think the president is even aware of what's going on in all of this?
Well, can he not read? I can read. I mean, what does he do? Does the president ever?
See, these Edomites are confounded, and they're actually afraid. They're afraid. All right? Because they know that this means the end of their power.
I mean, if all he watches is Morning Joe and Fox and Friends, what kind of information is he going to get?
Well, I think they've manipulated his mistrust of the establishment and of the deep state. They now have created an echo chamber of information, whether it be the certain morning TV shows he watches or the information that's brought to him in briefings.
Okay, but whose fault is it?
It's his.
It's his fault.
Yeah, we actually have a soundbite. This is number 16 for our control room, where the president actually called this information fake news being released about 120,000 troops. So now, which is it? Is the order from Mr. Bolton to Acting Secretary Shanahan, just smoke, or is it the real thing?
It's fake news to the president because he doesn't know anything about it.
But it's being done.
That's my hunch. He doesn't know, and so when he says it's fake news, he's telling the truth because he didn't order the Secretary of Defense to prepare war plans.
It's interesting when he is asked about this on the South Lawn of the White House before he was heading out to Louisiana today. They asked him this question about the 120,000 troops, and you're going to find his answer fascinating, Rick. Listen to this. This is clip 16 on our cut sheet.
Would I do that? Absolutely. But we have not planned for that. Hopefully we're not going to have to plan for that. And if we did that, we'd send a hell of a lot more troops than that. But I think it's just, where was that story, in the New York Times? Well, the New York Times is fake news.
Okay, so what we just reported here just 5 minutes ago about, Advisor Bolton and the 120,000 troops, that was reported by the New York Times. The president says that's fake news. But he also said that if we did go, we'd send a whole lot more than 120,000 troops.
Actually, he didn't say that the story was fake news. He said the New York Times
was fake news. Thank you. So
every once in a while, the New York Times gets it right.
Especially when they're getting leaked to,
yes,
right? Because they claim to have been able to quote from senior administration officials, and the named official in the article is actually Ambassador Bolton's sidekick, a man that basically acts as a spokesperson for him, both and his position currently and previously at the American Enterprise Institute. He didn't deny the story. He simply said that for a long time, Iran has always resorted to military action and must be dealt with.
Which is a lie. Iran hasn't attacked anyone. Look, I think in the last 212 years, if I'm not mistaken, Iran's been in one war. All right? And America's been in what I forget exactly how many. I think it was well over 200 wars. All right? And America's, not is not barely over 200 something years old. So I think America's around 224, 25, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But when you go, so we go back to 1776, and then so we come up to this time. All right. And in that time, America has been in more than 212 wars, if I'm not mistaken. And if not so, that's pretty close on. Iran's been in one. Has attacked one. So that's just a bold-faced lie and an excuse for them to do dirt. Esau is a liar, man. And they're all, and they're just divided because half of them want war and the other half don't. This is Matthew 3:25, and it reads 12:25. Salakia. That was Mark. That was quoting. They pretty much said the same thing. This is Matthew 12:25, and it says, "And Yahushua knew their thoughts, and said unto them, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand?" And what you're looking at is, Edom is divided against Edom. Within America, between the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, and the liberals, and also them with their division against the Europeans, especially Russia. So they're completely divided, man, and you're witnessing their fall.
Well, if you're talking 120,000 American troops, we're talking the size of the U.S. invasion of Iraq.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, folks, do you get what we're trying to warn you about? The Ziocons are marching us off to war again.
See, that's that
just
division,
like we did.
because these are Christians that are going against the Ziocons. Yeah, everyone's watching that Z word. You know, Ziocon, Zionist. All right, don't actually say it. All right, but that's a house divided, because you got Amalek against the Edomites here in America, basically, and Amalek has controlled a lot of power here in America. That's why they're persuading America to do whatever they want in the interests of Benjamin Netanyahu, not a Jew, who is the head of the Zionist.
In 2003. One more time. Here we go. The same pattern of behavior directed by the Ziocons. The propaganda, the staged events, the provocations.
And once again, can you
just lies, right?
Who's the enemy?
Propaganda, staged events. You know, just false lies. This is you know, the MO of Esau Edom. This is Ecclesiastes or Sirach, the 10th chapter, the 8th verse, and it reads, because of unrighteous dealings and injuries and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. This is Esau's way of operation. Slander, lie, murder, kill, steal, and then claim. Then say he's righteous. He'll judge you and bring you under charges in war when you attacked him and were defending your own house. He will bring you under charges for defending yourself in your own house when he's the invader.
What does he look like? And
well, they're telling us it's Iran, but I don't know why Iran's my enemy.
Right.
Iran,
house
the
divided.
Iranian people have not threatened me. I'm not afraid of the Iranian people. I don't stay awake at night worried
Damn
about
right.
the
You best be afraid of Edomite cops, judges, and lawyers. All right.
Iranian people.
And how do we know when we've won? What do we win at the end? You know, at least in World War II, you could say Hitler's gone. You know,
The Nazis are defeated.
The Nazis, they've been beat. You know, we've got V-Day. Let's have a parade. What is the parade going to look like when we're done with Iran? What are we going to be celebrating in that ticker tape
Star of David in Tehran.
Wow.
What do you think? I mean, what does it look like? Because it has nothing to do with the American people.
Right.
It's everything to do with Israel.
That's
because
right.
It's Israel that wants the war. It's not us. It's not the. Again, for 20 years sitting here, I've watched Israel try to start a huge war using the United States, using American men, American blood to fight a Zionist war against Iran.
They have the most to gain. If you think about it, this is
Jeremiah 49 and 20. And it says, therefore the heart of the counsel of Yahweh that he hath taken against Edom, and his purpose that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. So that's prophecy, man. The least of the flock is Amalek. They're the least of the Edomites, the smallest number. But yet they control all of the rest of Edom, and the world for that matter. And they're going to get this war. All right? And it's really not on their own doing. The Lord is allowing it to happen so that the prophecies will come to pass. And now we're at that time in the book where these things are coming to pass.
It's intricately tied into Syria. If it wasn't for Iran, for example, and Russia, Syria would probably at this point, their resources would be owned by the Israelis and allies. We're going past even Syria. There is no country in the Middle East other than Iran who is willing at this point to stand up against Israel as the
right, because Israel is a terroristic nation, point blank, period, man. You got something they like, they come and attack you, man. Like a robber, and they're no different from the dude who runs up on you in the car and carjacks you. Israel is no different. They just do it way more tactical and way more violently. All right, and then say that they're defending themselves as they're jacking you, and you don't even have a weapon. and they'll scream they got the right to defend themselves.
Become a regional and a global superpower.
Aside from
So he was too afraid to just call it like it was. It's a terroristic state, man. Point blank, period.
Bolton, who is the other person in the world who has repeatedly demanded war with Iran? Benjamin Netanyahu.
Benjamin Netanyahu.
Over and over, repeatedly, he has called for war with Iran. He's the one who wants this war. And he's frustrated that his best propaganda has failed. And Benjamin Netanyahu's true skill is propaganda.
Yeah, hey.
He was.
Hey, that dude's slick though, man. He like Teflon. All right, because he was on the verge of going to jail, man, and now he's and all that just kind of slid right off of him and his wife, and he's right back in the same position that he was in before, in power. Even though he was found guilty, and and all the evidence showed that he had did all these things that they were accusing him of, but somehow they got swept under the rug, and the dude's right back in office.
Was in charge of propaganda at one time when he was a young man. Yes. He was the Israeli propaganda chief. He's very, very good at it. He wants the war, and he has failed repeatedly to get an American president to go to war against Iran. I have, again, through all the years of True News, I've seen so many times I thought, here we go, we're ready to have a war. And we're ramping up right now, just like we have in the past, where the fever gets red hot, and you think, this is it. We're going to have the war.
That's how I've been.
The only difference right now, Doc, is there has never been in the White House a more pro-Zionist president than Donald Trump.
There it is. He screwed up and said the word. He didn't say Zion or Zionist, but better him than me.
That's what worries me.
See, Esau's worried because it's coming. You know why? This is Revelation. We're going to close with this. 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. So the rule of Esau, Edom is almost over. This war is already... It's not that Benjamin Netanyahu or Netanyahu wants a war. He already has it, man. All right? This war has already begun. What do you think this trade war is? It's already begun. And it isn't that much time left. So, those of you who haven't, you need to cling on to your Israelite heritage, repent, and learn and call on the name of Yahweh Bashem Navashai. Shalom, Abba Baba.
Shalom. Apostle Harkman back at you with this truth, giving all praise to Yahweh Bashem, Yahushua Bashem, Rakakwadash. And I'm going to title this video, Trump, the Tikkun of Esau against Iran. And this is from a news page. The name of the news company is Breaking Israel News, latest news, biblical perspective. Now it says here, Rabbi, there's a quote from a rabbi, Trump confronting Iran as Tikkun of Esau. Now I looked up the word Tikkun. It's supposed to be Hebrew. I got to go more into it, but it means the fixer. Like they said, they believe that the Most High set up Trump to be the defender for the state of Israel. And you can see the image there of the article. It says, Rabbi, read again, Rabbi, Trump confronting Iran as Tikkun of Esau. And this was put up today, which is May 14, 2019 year, Karagma. Now it says here, this is a quote from Daniel 11 verse 2. And this is from the Israel Bible. It says, excuse me, and now I will tell you the truth. Persia, which is the people of, or the nation of Iran today, will have 3 more kings, and the 4th will be wealthier than them all by the power he obtains through his wealth. He will stir everyone up against the kingdom of Greece. Daniel 11 verse 2, the Israel Bible. And they put that verse in there to say that this is a future prophecy. This verse, Daniel 11 verse 2, already took place over 2,000 years ago. This will never happen again. This is a whole different situation, scenario. And that shows you that they don't understand prophecy. We here at Great Millstone, we understand all the prophecies of this book. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll read a couple of paragraphs here and there. It says, as tensions between Iran and the U.S. rise, when the first spark of an actual conflict appear, ancient prophecies concerning pre-Messiah politics seem suddenly relevant like never before. So they had quoted the scripture in Daniel 11 verse 2, which has nothing to do with this current situation. Now, you can go to the book of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, and that's a future prophecy. And you know, the scriptures say in Matthew 24 you should see wars and rumors of wars. Right, this is nothing but a rumor of war. That's all this is a rumor of war. There's not going to be if there's a war, it will be a small war, but things will settle down. Because when World War III or the War of Armageddon takes place, the chip, you know when things are the end is going to come. Once the chip comes, the microchip, the mark of the beast, has to be fulfilled before the War of Armageddon take place. Okay, let me see. This guy mentions Esau. This is Rabbi Yitzchak said, the year of Melech, meaning King, HaMashiach, which is the Messiah, Messiah the King, will be revealed. All the nations of the world will be provoking each other. The king of Persia, which is Iran, which they got that right, will provoke the king of Arabia, Saudi Arabia, and the king of Arabia will go to Edom. So now they're mentioning Edom. So they know that they're the Edomites. They labeled Trump Tikkun. They label him Tikkun of Esau. It says and the king of Arabia will go to Edom, the west, to take counsel, but the king of Persia will in turn destroy the entire world. The nations of the world will be outraged and panicked. They will fall on their faces and they will experience pains like birth pangs. Israel too will be outraged and in a state of panic and ask, where do we go? In other words, this is this guy's sort of prophet, like he's a prophet. Like I said, they don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going on. I had a couple of paragraphs underlined, but I lost it. Let me get it back. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, right here it says, in end of days scenarios, there are two parallel tracks for Gog and Magog, the world united against Israel, and another in which Ishmael and Esau, which is Esau, fight each other. Spiral told Breaking Israel News, I always wondered how it could be both, and now I realize that that is really what is going on today. So they're speaking about Esau now, and they're mentioning Ishmael. Now, Ishmael has nothing to do with the people of Iran, because the people of Iran are Elamites. It says here, Rabbi Spiro cited Rabbi Mandel Kaysen, who comments extensively on current events from a Torah perspective, and which they don't understand the prophecies. These people, these are the same people that are looking for a physical a brick and stone temple. They don't realize that the temple is being built right before their eyes. In a lecture given 2 years ago, Rabbi Kaysen described Trump's victory as a revealed miracle, saying that the new president was the Tikkun or fixing of Esau. So they're saying that he's an Edomite. Trump is Esau or Esau West that fights with us, and I can't believe that they got it right. They're saying that Trump is an Edomite, but they don't believe that they're Edomites. With us against Ishmael or Islam, Rabbi Spiro said he is openly a staunch ally of Israel, talking about Trump. Well, he's a staunch ally of Israel, just like Barack Obama was, just like Clinton was, just like the Bushes were. You can't become president unless you're an ally to or a friend of Israel. See, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. I said it is even more interesting that like Trump got in there and all of a sudden he just has this love for the land of Israel. No, he was ordered to befriend Israel, just like the president before him. And these presidents are lower level people. They're basically, it's just like McDonald's. You have Ronald McDonald. Ronald McDonald is just a character that they made. You know, one guy gets a job, he puts on the Ronald McDonald suit. When he gets too old, he does something that he's not supposed to do, they'll fire him and they'll put another guy in a Ronald McDonald suit. So basically, Trump is the Ronald McDonald of America. America being McDonald's. So you can't get mad if your burger's cold. You can't get mad at Ronald McDonald. He's just a figurehead. And that's all Trump is. Trump has no real power. He's taking orders, I believe. I know. It is even more interesting that the greatest superpower in the world, which is they say is America, is currently confronting the greatest existential threat, as a tongue twister to me, to Israel, which is Iran. Like if you was to read the whole article, and you know the scriptures and you know the prophecies, you would know that these people don't know what the hell is going on. Let me read this paragraph too. It says, so I'm kind of jumping around. I'm not reading these paragraphs in any particular order. I'm just jumping around. It said there has been and you can read the whole article. I'll leave it in the description box. There has been a struggle between Islam and the Arab world against the West, which they call the West Esau. And that's what these so-called Jewish rabbis, they refer to the Romans as Edomites. There's plenty of information on that if you look it up. West, as to who will be the successor, replacing Judaism, he explained, they have been fighting since the inception of Islam in the 7th century, but at the same time, they put those issues aside to passionately fight Israel. So you have these infighting, but they're going to put everything to the side to fight Israel. And like I said, these people think that they are the actual people of the Most High, and that this is the fulfillment of a prophecy where the West is going to deal with Esau. I'm sorry, the West is going to deal with Iran, which they say, these rabbis teach that those are the Edomites. The Edomites are going to come to defend them, which can't be no more further than the truth. They don't have the truth. Anyway, let me get you a couple of scriptures. I mean, you can go to Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. You can go to Isaiah, the 13th chapter. You can go to, oh, you know what? They mentioned something. Let me see if I can get it back. I don't think it was in that article. But it's something that they acknowledge, that they acknowledge Esau, but they believe that it's the West, which is America, and that they're basically saying that Trump is an Edomite, like they're not Edomites. Bear me a minute. I gotta put a light on the subject. Come on. What's happening now, like I said, let me go to Revelation 16. Verse 12. Revelation 16, verse 12. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates. And if you throw up a map, the river Euphrates is northeast of Jordan, Jerusalem, the land of Israel. And you have Iraq right off the coast of the Euphrates. And the waters thereof was dried up, that the way the kings of the east might be prepared. Waters being dried up, meaning there's a drought. And there's articles on, I did videos years back, and I go to article drought in the Euphrates, and there's reports of droughts in certain parts of the Euphrates. It says, and I saw 3 unclean spirits bear me for a minute. Bear me for a minute. Just want to try something. I'm sorry. Bear me even more. Let me try this. I guess that was it. Let me go back to 12 again. Revelation 16 verse 12, and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Those are the kings of the Middle Eastern nation, and this goes hand in hand with let me bring it up. This goes hand in hand with Isaiah 14. Isaiah 14 verse 9. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones, the kings of the earth. It have raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Because they possess the missiles. 13 verse. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon. The dragon represents the first beast, which is the Roman Empire, which the second beast got their power and authority from. And out of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, which is Christianity as a whole. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth. 14 verse. For they are the spirits of devils. That's why we call you the devil. Working miracles, which go forth. Their miracles are their technology unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world. That's why when you go into the beast, and we always speak about the mark of the beast, it's the beast system that's going to force the chip on the microchip on the world. And China, you know, they take their marching orders from Esau anyway, because that whole cashless society that was set up by Esau, And the Moabites over there, they're going to take that chip because they don't understand the scriptures. Even if they have the Bible and they call themselves Christians, they don't understand the prophecies. See, if you don't understand the prophecies of the scriptures, you really don't understand the scriptures. That's why we always bring up Vocab Malone and Dr. Eric Mason and the rest of those so-called Christian apologists. They don't understand the scriptures. And they just now, and everybody's saying this, they just now learning the script. They're starting to do what we do. They're starting to go into the Greek, into the Hebrew. They're starting to go into they're starting to use the blue letter behind the scenes. They're not going to say, well, let's go to the blue letter, because if they say that, we're going to say, see, they're following us. And that's what they're doing. They're just now beginning to learn the scriptures, and they're learning from the Israelites. The number one group that they're learning from is Great Millstone and other Israelite groups outside of Great Millstone. For they are the spirit of devils. So somebody say, well, how can you prove the white man is a devil? Go to Revelation 16, verse 14. And like we just read in the article, that as you see on the screen, that they're calling Donald Trump the Edomite. They're saying that they think that they're the real Jews, and they think that the Edomites, their neighbors, are going to fight their battles for them. It says, for they are the spirit of devils working miracles which go forth unto the kings of the earth. And one of their miracles is what? The mark of the beast, which is the microchip. And of the whole world, because the whole world is going to be confront the fact that they have to get that chip. And then some people are going to say, no, I don't want the chip. So basically, you either going to be put to death, locked in a concentration camp, or pushed off the grid to gather them to the battle of the great day of the Most High Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, meaning this knowledge. That's why we're constantly putting up videos, because we're constantly checking out various current events. There's certain Edomites that we watch, like Peter Schiff, Gerald Celente sometimes, Edward G. Griffith, just to name a few, Jim Rickards, Michael Maloney dealing with the money system. So we watch these Edomites, because there's Edomites that know certain things, but they can't put all these things together. See, these Edomites that I mentioned, they don't know nothing about an Edomite. It says, behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. These are these guys that turn their back on the Lord. It said, and he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. Now we keep going to these same scriptures, because all these scriptures are getting ready to come to pass in a big way. You know, you read Revelation 16, Revelation 14, Revelation 13, Revelation 17, Revelation 18. And these all tie in together as to what... See, that's why now we got to go into the book of Revelation more so than ever. It says in the 18th verse, Revelation 16 verse 18, and there were voices and thunderings and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, and that's those missiles pelting the earth, hitting ground zero, which is the earth, such as was not since man were upon the earth. So this destruction is going to come by way of those missiles, so mighty an earthquake and so great. And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nation fell, and the great Babylon, which is America, came in remembrance before the Most High to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath, his anger. And every island fled away, and the mountains representing governments were not found, because there's only going to be one government. That's the government of the Most High. And there fell upon men a great hell out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. So what John saw was missiles. And men blasphemed the Most High because of the plagues of the hell, because of the missiles, for the plague thereof was exceeding great. So that hell represents those missiles that's going to pelt the earth and destroy the earth. So you're going to see people cursing the Most High for it. But go ahead and curse the Most High, because that's what you're supposed to do. You don't understand what's going on. And then you devils, the Most High is going to give us the power, and we're going to enslave your ass. Let me try something. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, this is Revelation 14. I'll start at 8. And these are scriptures that we know. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city which is America. We keep saying that. And Babylon the Great is America, because she had made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of fornication. They all went to bed with America and the American system. That's why people get elected to offices all around the world, because they got that from where? America. They call that democracy, which goes back to Rome. It says in the 9th verse, Revelation 14 verse 9. And like I said, when you see me do these videos now, I'm going to go into a lot of prophecies, because I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe, well, I know that this pursuant to Matthew 24, that this gospel has been published or preached throughout the whole planet Earth, because you got camps literally all over the earth. Sometimes we'll do the live stream and they'll say shalom from Russia, shalom from Iran, shalom from Pakistan, shalom from certain parts of Africa, shalom from Germany, shalom from Romania, shalom from Brazil, Mexico. You know, you got little one-man camps down there and out in Latin American countries, man. And there's no way we can hop on planes and go meet all those guys. We can't do it. You know, they just got to teach the word, and at the end of this thing, we're all going to come together. And Yahushua is going to be in the midst of us, and he's going to pass out the crowns. So you guys that have been holding it down by yourself, the two-man camps, you one-man camps, they've been holding this thing down in sincerity and in truth, you're going to get a crown. He that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. And not just saved, you're going to get that crown. You're going to get that throne. It says, 9th verse, and the third angel followed him, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast, first of all, you got to find out who the beast is. We here at Great Millstone know exactly who the beast is. And his image. The image is not a picture of Caesar Borgia. The image is the system. And receive his, like you got Jake, Israelites that are in the military. Well, right now they're getting the chip in the military, but they're told not to tell nobody. Just keep it hush hush. And a lot of them even know that that's the mark of the beast in Revelation 13. But they're going to take it anyway. And receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. It could be the left hand. You're still going to be condemned. It could be the butt cheek. It says, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone. Now hear this burning in hell stuff. The burning in hell is when the Most High causes the missiles to pelt Babylon the Great. So you're going to be burning the missiles, the ones of you that are not delivered by the Most High, in the presence of the holy angels. What does it mean by the presence of the holy angels? Because the angels, it tells you in Matthew 24 that the angels are going to be from one end of heaven to the other. And they're going to be in ships, and they're going to beam up the elect, and the rest of you are going to be destroyed. And in the presence of the Lamb. Because the Lamb and the angels are not going to be in hell watching you burn. So this is not talking about hell, as the Christians teach. It's talking about this nuclear holocaust that's going to take place. I'm going to jump to the 12th verse. Here is the patience here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments, which is the laws, to the best of our ability of the Most High, and the faith of Yahweh Shai. The Lord gave us a commission to go out and teach all nations, and those all nations represent Israelites scattered throughout the whole planet Earth. Verse 14, Revelation 14, and I looked and beheld a white cloud, which represents a ship, and upon, in Revelation 19, the Lord was on a white horse. Revelation 6, the Lord was on a white horse. That white horse and that white cloud represents actually a ship, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, which is our Lord, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. What do you do with a sharp sickle? You reap. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. Jumping down to the 19th verse, and the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of the Most High. And the winepress was trodden, and this goes hand in hand with Isaiah 63, that the Lord is going to have his garment stained. Well, that's parabolic talk. 20th verse, Revelation 14, and the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress, and that's talking about Esau's blood, and these people are judged, even unto the horse's bridle, by the space of 8,600 furlongs. So I mean, I can go on and on with this. You know, Revelation 18. Revelation 18, from the first verse to the last verse, is dedicated to or speaks about the downfall of Babylon the Great, which goes hand in hand with Isaiah the 13th chapter. So if the Most High is working with you, and you know what, like I said, we're going to keep going into these prophecies. Our focus is on these prophecies, because these prophecies are coming to pass. Like I said before, I believe that the 144,000 are already sealed, so it's a matter of time before the Most High actually acts. You see what's going on over there in Iran, and I'll be watching these different videos of these different Edomites in the know, but we're almost out of here. So any of you guys that are weak in the faith, you better go on the fast. You better pray. You better ask some. You better gather 2 or 3 brothers together and crack a bottle of olive oil over your head and pray for you. Because this is not the time to get weak. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.